Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay and I love all things reading and Disney. I am super excited about this video. We're going to be reviewing Verity today. This has very mixed reviews. I have some strong thoughts on this book as well. I'm really excited to get into it. Before we do that, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I would love to be able to grow this channel more. And if you do like the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up when you watch all the way through. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the only book that we're going to be reviewing today. So it is by Colleen Hoover. I read another book from her earlier this year. It was called It Ends With Us. Really liked that one. I believe I gave it 4.25 stars or 4.5, something like that. I really enjoyed it. So I did have high hopes for this book as well. I have a couple of different tools that I'm going to be referencing in the video here. I have my a clockwork reading journal, and then I also have my laptop open as well. I've been trying to be a lot more intentional with my reading this year and really reading books that I'm going to enjoy. But not only that, I find that when the end of the year videos come, last year at least, I was having a really hard time remembering some of the plot lines, even though I knew that I really enjoyed the book. So I'm writing out kind of synopsises and my reviews. Just for me, for right now. I might branch out into something else afterwards, but I'm writing everything down so I remember it more clearly. So if I do, you know, an end of the year faves video or something like that, it's a lot easier to reference that way, and then I'll also have this to reference as well. So like I said, this is only the second Colleen Hoover book that I've ever read. Had super high hopes of it, and I'm going to start off right off the bat. I gave this 5 stars. 100% absolutely loved this book. It is a romance thriller, and I think that that's actually a really wonderful genre to have this booked as. So no pun intended. Okay, so let's go over the synopsis first and foremost. So we are following a character named Lowen, and Lowen is kind of down on her luck, and she, her mom had just passed away. She just got served eviction notices, and she's a writer. She's kind of in between projects right now, so she's looking for a payday or looking at potentially changing career paths. So she's on her way to a meeting, and there is an event that happens, and all of a sudden she bumps into this person named Jeremy. So after talking to him a little bit, they figure out that they're actually going to the same office building and have a meeting at the same time. So Lowen goes up, she talks to her editor, and he says that he has a really great opportunity for her. And then in walks this Jeremy character. So then he kind of says, I didn't know that it was you out there, but I knew of you as a writer, and I would like you to continue on writing a series that my wife, Verity, had started. And then due to some unforeseen circumstances, she's no longer able to continue writing. So the story follows Lowen going out to Verity and Jeremy's home and trying to continue writing the series that Verity had already started. But when she's in Verity's office looking for different materials to try to help her with gaining perspective into some of the characters in her books, she comes across Verity's diary. And in that diary is quite a story. So some of the chapters are in Lowen's perspective as to what's going on in her physical world, and then other parts or portions of the chapters are the actual journal pages from Verity. I thought that was super unique. I thought it was really well done, And I probably could have sat, if I had enough time, and read this book in just one sitting. It is so fast paced. It is such a quick read, and it's just, you delve into, or you get trapped into this world and you just want to know what happens. So I'm actually going to read what I've already wrote about this, just because it was fresh right as I was reading it. And now that it's been a few days since I have read it, I just want to make sure that I capture everything. So if I am looking down, I'm just looking at my laptop. So my little thoughts here said, I have so many thoughts on this book, and to be quite honest, I'm still trying to put them all together. I read this book in less than 24 hours, and that's with a full workday in there as well. I'm going to start my thoughts by saying that I'm not a mother, but if I was, I would probably find this extremely disturbing. What I will say is that I couldn't put this book down because I needed to see what was going to happen next. So that is one thing that I do want to touch on. Again, I've never had kids. I've had little ones that have been near and dear to me, and obviously I would never want anything to happen to them. But again, if you are a mom, this might be a hard read for you, so just know that going in. For some reason, when I started reading this, I thought Lowen was a man. I don't know why I thought the character felt masculine to me, but I really thought it would have been interesting for a man to take over a female series, get into her head, deep dive into the characters. Yeah, for some reason, I guess going into the book, I was under the understanding that the main character was going to be male. So when they started talking about how she was talking to Jeremy, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that it was a male-male romance, but then I was like, oh, Lowen's a female. So for some reason, I don't know why I thought that it was a man. I just don't know, but it came off as a very masculine kind of opening for me. Not that I would have had an issue with that, but yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. If you have read this book, let me know if you think Lowen's a man. Okay, so the next little paragraph is an element of the story I wasn't expecting, and the one that had the most impact was the journal biography that Lowen finds on Verity. The best word I can think of to explain it is sinister. This popular author, who seemed to have the perfect life to anyone on the outside looking in, was describing in detail how obsessed she was with her husband and all the antics she got up to, trying to keep him interested in her and only her. I have never read anything about a mom who wasn't necessarily able to bond with her children the way most mothers do, so it captured my attention right away. I was also intrigued by Lowen's skittish behavior. Was she hallucinating? Were the things she was seeing because of the pills she kept taking? Was she actually paranoid? I just wasn't able to put this book down, and that plot twist at the end? Yikes. I've come across some mixed reviews on this book, and honestly, I can understand. This is very unconventional, but I believe that if you go into it with an open mind, it'll be one of the fastest, most satisfying books that you read this year, or that you read this year. A book that makes you hate a character as much as Verity, and then turn to almost sympathize with her or question everything you thought you knew about her, is a huge compliment to the author. This is my second Colleen Hoover novel that I've read, and I'm as excited as ever to read more of her work. Her characters are humanized in a way that you can almost believe that they're real. In this case, I'm very happy that they can stay in the land of fiction. I know this book is divisive, but the thriller romance genre needs to be tapped into more, and this is a perfect example of how to meld the two together. This one is going to stay with me for quite some time. Wow. So that's just kind of summing up what I thought about it. But I have to say that the journal entries were sinister, but also disturbing, but in a way that you question, can these actually be thoughts that Verity was thinking? Like, what's going on? So one of the really great things about this book was that I was able to learn a couple things about the author writing world. And something that I learned about was called antagonistic journaling. And I'm not going to go into it because it does explain what it is in in the book, kind of near probably like 80% through, but I thought that it was really interesting and I'd never heard that term before, so I was really excited to learn about it. And then it kind of comes into play with the main twist in the novel, and I thought that it was just such a great plot twist. So yeah, I really enjoyed all of the characters. I did enjoy Lowen, but I actually thought that Jeremy was quite a good character as well. Verity is a character that you just hated, and I felt an actual hatred towards her. And then as the story was progressing and the end of the novel, I was just like, I don't know what to believe now. So when you finish a book and if it keeps coming back to you, I think that's a really great sign of writing that is just wonderful. So I actually read this one because I was talking to Rochelle over from the Daunties, and she had asked if I had read it or had it on my shelf, and I was like, it is my next read. And again, I read it in less than 24 hours with a full work day in there as well. I literally just couldn't put it down. On my breaks and on my lunches, I was filling myself with this Verity book, and I'm so happy that I was able to read it. So again, if you are having second thoughts on picking it up, the only reason I would tell you not to is if you don't like adult content, either talking about, you know, like sexual content or adult language. If you don't like those things, definitely don't pick up this book. And then as well, if you think that you might have an issue with any topics that come up with children, if you're a mom, then I would maybe look in the other direction. But again, it's fiction, so who knows if this actually has happened before. I'm really hoping that it hasn't, but I think that it's unbelievable. It was just such a good book. It's my only actual 5-star read of the year so far, and if I could find something similar to it, then I would read that as well. But again, this is just such a unique book, and I've never read anything like it. So I would love to hear your thoughts if you have read it. The reason I picked reading it when I did was because I was on Goodreads and I saw a whole bunch of 2-star ratings, and so I was really excited because on YouTube I had watched 5-star ratings. So I wanted to kind of know where I landed on that, but I'm definitely more on the 5-star side. Again, I'm still thinking about it like 5 or 6 days after I read it, and it was just really, really good. So if you do read it, let me know. If you have read it already, like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But that is gonna do it for me today, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful start of your week. Happy Monday, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.